You've probably heard the term quantum computing tossed around, right? It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, promising unbreakable codes, miracle medicines, you name it. But how much of that is real and how much is just, well, hype? Today, we're going to cut through the noise and separate the facts from the fiction.
This quote right here, it just nails it. Is quantum computing this all-powerful machine that's going to shatter the internet, or is it all smoke and mirrors? The truth, as we're about to find out, is way more interesting than either of those extremes.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll get into why everyone's so confused. Then we'll bust the 3 biggest myths out there about its power, how fast it's coming, and who gets to use it. And finally, we'll land on what quantum computing actually is in the real world right now.
So let's start with that first question. Why is everybody talking about this? What is all the buzz about?
Well, a huge part of the answer, as usual, is to follow the money. We're talking about a staggering $36 billion pumped into quantum tech globally. When you see governments and the biggest companies in the world treating this as a massive strategic priority, you know something big is going on. But all that cash, it definitely fuels the hype machine.
Okay, before we dive into the myths, let's get a little framework in our heads. See, not all hype is the same. Some of it is just flat out false. Some claims are just uncertain. Nobody really knows the timeline. And then there's the trickiest kind. Claims that are technically true, but are framed in a really misleading way. Keep these 3 categories in mind.
All right, first up, let's tackle the biggest, most sci-fi myths of them all. The ones about the ultimate world-changing power of these machines. Is that really what we're looking at? To get this right, we've got to get our terms straight. You've almost certainly heard quantum supremacy. Sounds pretty epic, right? But it's not about world domination. It's actually a very specific lab benchmark. All it means is that a quantum computer did one highly controlled and kind of useless task better than a classical computer could. That's it. It's a milestone, not a magic wand.
Now, the next term, quantum advantage. This is the one to watch. This is the real prize. It's the moment a quantum computer can solve a genuinely useful real-world problem, like designing a new battery, better than our best supercomputers. And the key thing here, it's still unproven. We are not there yet.
So that leads us right to our first myth bust. People hear supremacy and think the tech is ready to go. And that is a perfect example of a misleadingly framed claim. The reality is supremacy is a fantastic scientific achievement, for sure. But quantum advantage is the actual destination we're all trying to get to. So what about the computer on your desk? Is it going to be replaced by a quantum laptop? Nope. Not a chance. That's a totally false claim. Think of quantum computers more like a Formula One car. They are incredible, highly specialized machines built for one purpose. You wouldn't drive one to the grocery store. They're designed to work with our regular computers, not replace them.
Okay, the big one. The end of online banking, secure messages, all of it. Here's the deal. Yes, in theory, a powerful enough quantum computer could break today's encryption. But that machine, it just doesn't exist. Not even close. The threat is theoretical. It's something we need to prepare for in the long run, but it is not a danger we face today, so no need to panic.
So that brings us to our next big bucket of myths, all about the timeline. With all this money and buzz, you think the quantum revolution is happening next Tuesday, but is it? This one falls squarely in that uncertain category. You see all these ambitious roadmaps, but the truth is, nobody knows for sure. There's this enormous technical challenge called fault-tolerant computing. Basically, quantum bits, or qubits, are incredibly fragile and prone to errors. Making them stable enough for useful calculations is a monster of a problem that we just haven't solved yet.
But on the other hand, saying these machines are completely useless today, that's also a myth. That one's just false. Even these early, noisy systems are showing some real promise for specific things, like simulating molecules. And related tech, like quantum sensing, is already out there in the world. So it's not an all-or-nothing game. Progress is happening, even if that big commercial splash is still a ways off.
Okay, so we've talked power, we've talked progress, but now, what about access? Who actually gets to play in this quantum sandbox? Is it some exclusive club for geniuses and billionaires?
You might think so, but that's becoming less and less true every day. This is one of the coolest parts, actually. Thanks to cloud platforms from all the major tech players, literally anyone with an internet connection can log on and run code on a real quantum computer. That, plus tons of open source software, is lowering the bar to get involved, and fast.
And it's not just a few giant companies either. The whole quantum ecosystem is exploding. You've got scrappy startups, university labs, and even mid-sized companies building everything from new software to critical hardware parts. The field is way more open and diverse than you'd think. Okay, we've busted some serious myths about power, progress, and access. So where does that leave us? Let's bring it all together. What is the actual reality of quantum computing today?
If you remember just one thing from all of this, please make it this right here. Quantum computers are not a replacement for your laptop. They are a specialized tool, a profoundly powerful specialized tool for a very specific set of incredibly hard problems.
So what this really means is we're building a future where these machines will tackle huge challenges, things like designing new life-saving drugs, and they're going to do it by working with our classical computers, side by side. We just have to remember that this is absolutely a marathon, not a sprint.
And that really brings us to the final question, doesn't it? If we are building a brand new type of tool, one designed specifically to solve the hardest problems humanity has ever faced, well, that begs the question, what problem should we point it at first? Something to think about.